Yo, everybody, what is going on? What is going on? It's your boy David from Top Bunk Sports, and I am here with another video. And I am here with the first Knicks Post Game video of the year. What can I say? We started off with a bang. We took care of home court, came in the garden, showed this fan base what this new team is made of. I mean, a lot of good things to unpack when it came to yesterday's win. And it only gets difficult from here, right? We took care of business against a team that we could not beat at all last year. We were 0-4 against the Cavs in the regular season last year. And now we're stepping into a team that has a very big vendetta against us after what we did to them in the first round. Nobody gave us a chance. Nobody thought that we would be able to beat the Celtics. Everybody said that we were out of the first round. And it looked like we proved everybody wrong. And now we face the I would say newly formed Celtics in a way, because of the fact that Jason Tatum will not be playing for most of the season this year. But they basically traded for Anthony Simons. If you guys remember, they traded for him, and they sent Drew Holiday to Portland. Do I know why they did that? No. Uh, and I'm talking about Portland. Portland right now is under some deep stuff. They got a new head coach because obviously Chauncey Billups trying to be sneaky out here, and they caught him. But Tiago Splitter is their new head coach. But I say all that to say that, the Celtics look very new now with Anthony Simons running point. So, we gotta face them, but obviously, we're trying. We have one goal in mind. That's to win a chip. And so far, we haven't been in position to be dominant in the East, right? We have not been the team to be like, yo, this is the team that everybody has to go through. Last year it was the Cavs. The year before that it was the Celtics. This team right now, based on what you saw, minus the third quarter, because that third quarter was disgusting. They let Donovan Mitchell go on a run. Donovan Mitchell, I think, had like 21 points in that third quarter. Like he was going off, right? In that third quarter, we kind of collapsed. Defense was slow. We were late on getting back in transition on defense. It was just super, super bad, no matter how you put it. But I will say this. Every time the Cavs found themselves in a little bit of a groove, the Knicks found their way to answer back, right? Didn't really see that a lot with Tom Thibodeau as the head coach, and I know there's a lot of people that appreciated Tibbs. I, one for myself, appreciate Tibbs. And I know doing this video, I haven't really spoken on the playoffs, on the offseason moves, which there really wasn't much. I mean, Jordan Clarkson was a big pickup, a really, really big pickup. That you talk about adding to your bench, you talk about addressing the issue that needed to be addressed within your bench depth, adding more pieces to that, getting more help, getting more veteran presence. They got Malcolm Brogdon at a point, but then obviously, Malcolm Brogdon played a game and then all of a sudden was just like, this isn't for me. I'm just going to retire. But it would have been nice to have that veteran piece, a floor general like Mogden Brogdon, a veteran that can give so much advice to the young guys within Deuce McBride, Pacome Dadier, within some of the other guys on this bench that we acquired, that we got, the rookies that are trying to develop. So that would have been a nice piece, but obviously, he looked at it in a different way. He probably looked at it and said, yo, you know what? These young kids got it. These young kids are not gonna develop if I'm out here playing most of the minutes, trying to run, point guard for the bench. So, kudos to him for a very good career. Wishing him nothing but the best. Appreciate you even as giving us a thought. Malcolm Brogdon was a choice for a lot of Knicks fans for multiple years, and finally when it happened, it obviously, on some weird shit, it didn't really, happen. That it didn't really happen. So it is what it is. But it's not to say that Malcolm Brogdon, being off this team, makes this bench less better. No, this bench is still good. This bench is still good, but that's to say that this bench is still good being used right. You see, the problem with Tom Thibodeau is that Tom Thibodeau still thought and still thinks in his old ways. He does not make adjustments. He does not adapt. He does not know when to make the right moves within the game. His in-game abilities to adjust as a head coach is horrible. And that's what I've seen. Now, mind you, shout out to my people on Knicks Twitter. When I first joined Knicks Twitter and Knicks Spaces, this was in, I would say, late October, early November. Uh, late October, early November of 2022. So this is around the time that we got Julius Randle, coming back to earth, being appreciated, playing like he wanted to be here, stuff like that. My favorite year for Julius Randle, because it was kind of like a redemption year in a way. Um, and I just remember always telling people about Tibbs, like the one thing that he doesn't know how to do is adjust. Tom Thibodeau and adjustments don't go together. And throughout his tenure, his 5 to 6 year tenure as the head coach for the New York Knicks, it has never been that case. For example, you go back even before 2022 to 2023, 2021, right? 2021 to 2022, we were all saying that Emmanuel Quickly should be starting over Alec Burke. And who was starting for the most part coming off the bench? Alec Burke, right? The Kemba Walker signing didn't make any sense to me. And it's funny, it never worked out. It never worked out. It never did. And it seemed to me like they knew that and they just didn't want to see him on the court anymore, to the point where Alec Burke was a starting point guard for the rest of the year. When, you know, you put that on him now, but we had no other choice, right? He's been playing most of the time over Emmanuel Quickly. And Emmanuel Quickly didn't deserve that because Emmanuel Quickly was trying to develop. Um, so he didn't have he didn't have, an adjustment on that. Um, when it came to when it came to in-game decisions, leaving certain guys out there for too long, leaving guys out there, the stars especially, for so long, and not making adjustments within matchups and all of that, he's always had an issue with that. And I think with that, and just knowing that he could never get over the hump and that's what hurt him. Like we always talk about, like, that his ceiling was to get us to the second round into the Eastern Conference Finals. That was his ceiling. And the reason why he had a ceiling and he had a cap is because him not being able to make those adjustments and him not being able to read the game well is why we could never get over the hump with Tom Thibodeau. Now, that's not to say that Mike Brown won't be in the same situation if he does not adapt within the season. He can be. But this is somebody that doesn't go by his old ways. This is somebody that actually believes in his players. Not to say Tom Thibodeau didn't, but obviously when it came to his young core, he didn't really play his young core that much. Let's just be honest. Mike Brown is on a different scale. You look at yesterday's game, for example. They had about 11 different lineups yesterday. And I can't even tell you most of them, but I'll tell you one lineup right now, as a matter of fact. And I'll put my tweet up because I think this lineup right here is, to me, what really impressed me the most out of everything else that really happened that really happened yesterday, right? So I'll show you guys right now. So I tweeted within a couple minutes, probably within like towards the middle to the end of the first quarter, going into the second quarter. I said I really like this lineup with Brunson, Deuce, McHale, Trey Jameson, and Groshan Yabusele. Now, Yabusele is getting a lot of criticism because he didn't really play well, but this lineup right here played a really big factor for a lot of the reasons. Number one, right, and this starts with Brunson, right? But it's throughout the game, Brunson's been in this position. And I'll start with Brunson. Brunson was playing a lot of off ball. Now, this is something that a lot of Knicks fans who like Brunson to a certain extent or really don't like Brunson because he's a ball hog and he doesn't make his teammates better, whatever. That's here to disagree, whatever. I disagree with that. But to those people that really don't like Brunson, they want him to play more off ball, right? And you saw that. You saw multiple situations where Deuce was bringing up the ball, obviously. You saw situations where Mikal was bringing up the ball. And what would happen is Mikal would bring up the ball. They would set him a pick either on the wing or at the top of the key, and he would go to wherever side. So if he's coming and they're setting the pick on the left side, he'll go around that pick, guy will roll off, whether it's Jameson or Yabusele, roll off, and either Mikal is going to read where his guys are at, make the extra pass, go for the layup, or find the cutting man after that pick and roll was set. Again, same thing with Deuce, right? And the thing about Deuce is Deuce, his like man, Deuce kind of reminds me of like when you're a coach, right? And you're looking at this young kid that you've trained for so long, and you're like, damn, to see his growth and to see how much of a better player he's become over the years and the confidence that he's built. That's how I look at Deuce. Like we've seen this kid grow from the moment that we've drafted him, from a kid that's like, yo, when he believes in his shot, he's gonna be good. He was coming out of Virginia, he was known as a good defender for a guard, right? But it was always his shot. Like we were always gonna wonder, like when he believe when he when he has more confidence in his shot, it's game over. And 3 years now, we've been seeing that his shot just keeps getting better and better and better, man. And I love the confidence on this kid. Um, Another thing too that I also want to talk about is Trey Jameson. Trey Jameson, if I'm not mistaken, I will literally look this up right now so you guys can understand the point that I'm about to make. Let's look at the box score real quick. Let's look at Trey Jameson's been. Jameson only played 7 minutes last night. But you could tell defensively, and this goes for this entire lineup right here. This is why I'm pulling this lineup specifically, because that was the first lineup from the starters that he switched up, right, in the first quarter. Again, like I said, Mike Brown pulled out about 11 different rotations, right? This was the first lineup that he put out since breaking up the starters. Obviously, we know the situation with Cat with the quad or whatever, but this was the lineup right here that he pulled out. The first lineup that he put out on the court. Excuse me. Trey Jameson made an impact. Now, again, like I said, 7 minutes, 0 points, whatever, cool. It's what you're doing to affect your teammates in a positive way. This kid's defense was on point. I mean, he was playing his defense. He was playing his guy up. When they were setting a pick on him, he was making quick switches, and everybody was. That's the key thing about this whole game yesterday. Because if you just read the defense, right, how the Knicks were playing defense, they were playing very quick. Mike Brown was not joking. I put a tweet out there yesterday as well. Mike Brown was not joking when he said they were going to play quick. Like that's one thing where it's like, coaches say different things, but if it doesn't translate to the game, it doesn't happen. Mike Brown said from the moment that he did his press conference when he signed as a head coach, they were going to play fast. And by God, did they ever. Brunson was bringing up the ball quick. So was Mikal. Deuce at times was bringing up the ball quick. On defense, they were getting back quick. Except for that third quarter, they were a little bit slow, but you could tell that even on switches, on defensive switches, they were switching quick. You could see there was just a difference within this team. And the crazy part about it for me, it was refreshing to see. It was very refreshing to see the fact that not only were we able to see aggressiveness on defense for multiple possessions and not just maybe for one night, 2 nights, or whatever, but the fact that we were able to get more guys from our bench. And I think for me, that is the refreshing part, because now you're talking about a 10 to 11 man rotation that can match up with almost anybody. Now, I'm not going to say everybody, but when you want to put based on matchups, you have your options there to use. It doesn't matter who's on that bench. It doesn't matter who's going to come in, right? You guys got to be ready. Guys got to be ready to play at all times. It doesn't matter. You got to be ready to lace up and get on that court and play the best basketball that you have ever played every single night. Some nights you may have it, some nights you may not. But when you're there, when your number is called, you got to be ready, right? You got to be ready, and that's what Mike Brown has given us. Another thing that I think that I really like is that, like I said, and you know, it's good to have this situation now because you're starting early, right? But like I said, Mike Brown had maybe 10 to 11 different lineups last night out there. I like the fact that he was doing that based on matchups. So what he's doing is he's picking and choosing. He's trying to see what matchup is what's gonna go great on defense, certain moves, certain switches on offense and stuff like that. Like I like the fact that he's doing that mid game and he's not afraid to make those adjustments. Again, key things that I'm saying that Tom Thibodeau was not doing. And this is not a video about going at Tom Thibodeau. Again, I haven't spoken to you guys since the playoffs. I didn't do a video on Tom Thibodeau getting fired. Appreciate Tom Thibodeau for everything that he's done for this organization. He got us to relevancy once again, right? He put us in a situation where now we can win. You got us to that certain ceiling. Thank you. Now it's time to pass the baton to somebody that could get us to pass that ceiling to the grand spot that we want to get to, and that's an NBA Finals to go win a championship, right? Mike Brown right now is showing us that he's adapting to what the league is. The league is playing fast. The league is playing aggressive. The league is following a certain regiment where, of course, defense is not the main thing, but that's what the element that he wants to add, right? Listen, not everybody's playing great defense. I want to be a defensive team. I want our defense to be number one. And when we're on offense, I want the ball to be shared. The one thing that I'll also say is that ball movement was beautiful to see. Guys were moving the ball at an efficient rate. Guys were reading the court very well. Guys were doing handoff passes, moving off ball around the court. Like these are things that you would not see with Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau was more on that ISO offense with his best players. And listen, that's not gonna in today's NBA. I'm gonna be honest with you. You do see a lot of ISO ball, but let's be real. Guys are gonna adapt to that. Guys are gonna adapt to that. So at the end of the day, different touches, different guys getting out there where the Cavs are not comfortable. They haven't seen. They don't really know what Mike Brown's game plan is, right? Because it's his first game with his new squad. So Mike Brown utilized that, and I like the fact that again he was not afraid to put certain guys out there. Again, I talked about Trey Jameson, Yabusele. Yabusele didn't have a great night, right? But boards. We're talking about key rebounds, right? We're talking about a guy just being able to spread the floor out without having the ball in his hands. A guy that's able to get key rebounds to push the ball, get hand it off to your guard and run down the court. Run down the court, get down low, and be ready. The most important thing about yesterday's game too is that Mitch was out, Josh Hart was out. And we were this close to having Carl Anthony Towns out for yesterday's game as well. Three of your best rebounders were going to be out for that game yesterday. And the Knicks, and it's crazy. And the Knicks were crashing the boards like crazy. Now, again, at certain times in the first quarter and probably in the third quarter, they gave up a bit of key offensive rebounds, right? They had their moments. They weren't perfect, but they were good. They were really good. In terms of rebounds, I'll check those numbers for y'all right now. Rebounds, they had 58. They have 58 offensive rebounds compared to 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 Cleveland's 50 defensive rebounds. As a matter of fact, I will go to NBA.com right now for you guys and check that as we go. Let me just check. I don't know why my 1 second, guys, but I will check that for you guys right now as we speak. Let me go to yesterday's schedule just to tell you guys the defensive rebounds as well. Okay, here we go. All right. So in total rebounds, The Knicks had 48 total rebounds while Cleveland had 32 total rebounds. Again, to me, that is very, very, very impressive, knowing that your three best rebounders are basically out and one wasn't playing to the best of his ability because of his of his quad strain. Again, it was announced after the game that it was upgraded to a grade 2 quad strain, right? Karl Anthony Towns was asked about it, and Karl Anthony Towns, in his own words, said he didn't want to disappoint the fans. I appreciate Karl Anthony Towns for that because a couple hours before the game, he was getting killed. He was soft. He was probably not that hurt. He just probably didn't want to play. And he comes out here, and you could tell he was hurt. He was hobbling a little bit. You could tell he was hurt, and he went out there. He went out there. He had a double double, 19 points and 11 rebounds, and gave the fans what they a little bit of what he could give us. And again, those 11 rebounds are key. But just being able to go out there and be able to move the ball at an efficient rate, playing quick, spreading the floor out, getting back on defense, being able to switch, not letting go of your man, being able to adapt. Again, like I said, their worst quarter was that third quarter, and they adjusted right after that. They adjusted right after that. So I really gotta give it up to this team, man. They really, really, really showed something yesterday. And again, I think a lot of that has to do with Mike Brown just pushing the message of what he was saying from the very beginning that he got here. You know what I'm saying? And not even that, trusting his young guys. Trusting you saw our young guys within Tyler Kolek got more minutes than Jordan Clarkson, a veteran in this league, a guy in Jordan Clarkson that would probably start for a good percentage of teams. He got a lot of good looks and a little bit of more time than Jordan Clarkson. And Tyler Kolek is another guy that I want to talk about. Tyler Kolek, a guy that everybody said, yo, we shouldn't really give him an opportunity like that because he's not worth it. Tyler Kolek comes in, and yes, he only had only had 3 points, but he comes in, he's bringing up the ball. He gives a nice bounce pass to Anunoby for a wide open dunk. He comes in the very next possession and pulls up on the three. Like, the confidence on this kid, and I posted, and I'll show you guys this highlight as I go. The confidence on this kid is very, 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 very key, and you like that because that's what it was taught. Look, I'll put it right here if I'm not mistaken. Here you go. Yep. So
Anunoby throws a miss. Here's Tyler Kolek. Beautiful pass, and Anunoby throws it down.
Next possession, literally the 7-footer and Jared Allen, and he drains a three. Like that right there. Like I said, the confidence on this kid that, again, I heard about when he was in Marquette. You see it right there. But why wasn't he able to get that confidence on a night-to-night basis, on a game-to-game basis? Because Tom Thibodeau barely played him. Tom Thibodeau barely played. And I know you have your second point guard in Deuce McBride. But what if Deuce McBride is playing off ball? What if Tyler Kolek is your point guard coming off the bench? You give them those opportunities, and they're gonna do what they need to do with it. They're gonna do what they need to do with it. So again, just the confidence is there. The confidence that I've known Tyler Kolek to have. You love to see it. Again, the Knicks were playing as a team. They were playing aggressive all night, playing quick. And again, I think, like I said before, that's the message that I think Mike Brown is trying to relay there. And it's refreshing to see because you know that he's going to use everybody on this team. And the way that they played yesterday, with the speed, with the aggressiveness on both ends, this team is showing you right now why I believe, and I'm sure they believe, and everybody else in this fan base believes, that they can be number one in the East and they could take over the East. Because the East ain't that strong this year as it was last year. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the East is ours, and I think it's ours for the taking. I think we can make the finals this year if Mike Brown is doing exactly what he did in game one. Now, it's not always going to be like that every game, but Mike Brown is a veteran that knows when to adjust and that knows how to adapt to the league. And that's a fact. And that is a fact. I just want to read you guys a couple of a couple of stats. For me, I had player of the game, OG Anunoby. OG picking up where he left off, 24 points, 14 rebounds. Another key guy that helped on the boards with two of our top rebounders being out. 14 boards, 2 assists, 4 of 9 from three. He was cashing threes a lot, especially from the corner. You guys that follow me on Twitter know I call him the corner sniper because every time he shoots a three from the corner, he's wet. He's green. So again, a big game from OG Anunoby. Jalen Brunson with 23 points. He was 5 of 18 from the field. Didn't really have his best stuff, but again, playing within the team, finding his rhythm. He had a couple good jump shots, being able to get crafty to the bucket, like just being able to play within the rhythm of the team. Again, like I said before, you saw Jalen Brunson, who is the snake of this offense, of this team. He is the captain for a reason. He was playing a lot of off ball. That's what you like to see, being able to give the ball to some of your young guys and you being able to find better roles for yourself with on that court. Yes, you are the general of this team. You are the captain. You are the point guard, right? You run the offense, but maybe also in the game, you not always bringing up the ball. You playing off ball, they could catch you for they could get you for a catch and shoot, right? For a three, for a catch and shoot, right? You're cutting. You have Mikal bringing up the ball. You cut back door. Mikal finds you for a layup. There's a lot of ways that this offense can be lethal, and it doesn't always have to be Jalen Brunson playing with the ball. It could be off ball Jalen Brunson, and then you're also talking about our bench being so deep and guys that are really playing aggressive that there'll be nights where they can dominate a whole quarter and you won't even see Jalen Brunson in there. Deuces going off, and you won't see Jalen Brunson in there until maybe the middle of the fourth quarter, maybe middle of the third quarter. That's what makes this team so lethal, so good, and so special this year. I know it's only one game. I know it is. Listen, I don't want to overreact. It's only one game, right? But we got off to a good note and a good start. And let me tell you something. They put a very big challenge with us on us, right? And I know the Cleveland Cavaliers were very depleted. I get that. I 100% get that. But they still got guys. You saw what you saw how they were shooting the lights up, right? They have a couple good shooters on it. Donovan Mitchell, whenever he gets hot, he's very hard to stop. They got guys that can still win games for them with the other guys being out. Darius Garland was out, right? We were able to adjust to what they were trying to do and the runs that they were making. We countered every single time. This is a team last year that whooped our fucking ass. We were 0-4 last year in the regular season, like I said. And we sent them a message because they're trying to win the East again this year as well. We sent them a message last night. And guess what? We got another team in the East that's trying to come for us and come for Cleveland. And that's the team we eliminated in the playoffs last year in the first round, the Boston Celtics. And like I said, yes, they don't have their franchise player in Jason Tatum, but they got a really good point guard, a really good scorer in Anthony Simons, and Jaylen Brown is still that dude. So we can't take them lightly. But if we want to send a message to them, going 2-0 against the two top teams in the East right behind us, that's a message that I'm willing to throw out there so they know we ain't playing this year. We gave y'all a sneak peek last year. We ain't playing this year. We coming for the taking. So it's gonna be very interesting. Like I said, a couple key notes right here. Knicks shot 43% from the field. They shot 86% from the free throw line. Like I said, they out rebounded Cleveland 48-32. They had 8 steals. They had 9 offensive rebounds where Cleveland only had 4. So that's another thing. They had 21 points off of turnovers while Cleveland had 18 points off of turnovers. And most of that, like I said, was probably coming from the third quarter. They shot 35% from three, which is okay. Not that bad. They were 14 of 40, so they could be much better. They had 22 assists. They had 16 points off of fast breaks. They had 4 blocks. And then they had 39 defensive rebounds to Cleveland's 28 defensive rebounds. So again, what they did on the board and how they were able to do things collectively with their key guys and Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart being out and Cat not being 100% just shows the depth of this team and just shows the vision that Mike Brown has for this team. And I'm very excited to see how this season goes. But tomorrow's matchup, like I said, we stay home to play the Boston Celtics. It is not going to be easy. Like I said, they got a young line and Anthony Simons who is now playing for something. And when you play for something, you're playing much better. You're playing with a hunger, and I can't wait. I can't wait for that. The Celtics are coming for blood after what we did to them last year, and I'm not expecting this to be easy, but I'm expecting this for the Knicks, at least for this game, to be a very motivational game. They know who they're playing with. And again, I'm sure the high off winning yesterday is going to get them even more energized because it's a Friday night game. They're home again and they're playing a team that they know that is coming for them and that's trying to stop them in their conference. So we'll see. Tomorrow's game time is, I believe it's 7:30. I believe it is. Let me just check that for you. Yep, 7:30 tomorrow. Game time tomorrow at MSG. We play the Boston Celtics. We are 1-0 as the Knicks defeat the Cleveland Cavaliers 119-111 to grab the win on their home opener. Guys, this is it for your Knicks post game. I will be available for a Knicks post game tomorrow after the game. It may be live or it may be just a recorded video where I'll post that right away as soon as the game is done. And once the post game is done, I might have a guest on. Still trying to figure that out, but if I don't, it will be me. But there will be a video out there for the post game after the game tomorrow against the Celtics. But with that being said, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram, follow me on X, follow me on TikTok. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, and make sure you guys just show me some love. And we're gonna keep this thing going, man. The new improved Knicks are on the rise, man, and we're coming for that Eastern Conference, man. We're trying to win that chip this year, and this team so far with everybody else that you saw is looking really good, and we coming, man. We're coming. But it's your boy David from Top Book Sports, and I will catch y'all on the next video. Peace.